Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Mountain Buses Goes Miniature. Now, I've not got too much of an update really on the railway. I've been busy, but I've been busy printing. Now, you might see in that first shot there was a bridge, and the train is running on its own, and I ain't sat here controlling it. That is because after a lot of messing about, and there's still fine work to do, none of the track is down sort of in a permanent state or anything like that, because Sean's going to come in the next week, I think it is, and we're going to have a little bit of a play and a little bit of change, as well as he's probably going to be able to solder the track a little bit better than I can with my really crap soldering iron. However, there's also the problem that's just behind me, which I'll go into detail as you heard the train and stuff. I'll go into detail with very shortly. So the principle of the layout is set up. I'm able to sit and run trains now. We still have a bit of work to do, and I'll run you through that now, and that's mainly going to be this episode. So I found on a 3D printing site, which if I remember I'll link in the description, these, and this is made for Engage. These are 43mm tall, however the gap that I needed to cover was only 30mm, so I've scaled them down so the bricks are a bit smaller, but rather than chopping them up I've scaled them down. And then that's what's give us this effect across here. Let me move that out of the way. So I'm not too sure what we're crossing yet, but I wanted a bridge, so I've got a bridge. So this bridge is actually going to be 3 bridges essentially, because we're going to have the rear track here, which is going to come across here, and then this one, which we're not too sure what quite to do with it yet, but me and Sean are going to discuss it, because we have also got 2 tracks behind here, which if you look under there is a point, so we've got to sort that out, and that's not going to be easy to do, as well as we might have to make an access point here. Although this does have, behind this, it does have an access point, but it's not exactly very accessible with how this layout is set up at the moment. So look, the train's coming. Way. So what we got is, we've got soldered track here. So this is my soldering. It's not the smoothest. That could do with being smoothed out a little bit, but the train's happy enough to go over. It's tacked down there and there and there, and then all this isn't tacked. This is held into place with the flexi tracks bend essentially, and the next track pins here. So this is going to get held down, and we will sort this out. As you can see, the bridge is just sort of bodged together at the moment, to support the track, but as a principle it does its job. We can make these longer, but they will look a bit silly depending on how long we go with them, so we could make them a bit longer. So yeah, track soldered in down here. So all this is soldered. There's not one fish plate in sight round here. All this is soldered. And I hate soldering track, but I'm getting quite good at it now. Obviously we've got to do under there, as I say, so I need to get the 3D printer printing some more of these legs. Some more legs and some more bridge sections, because I'm out of bridge sections. I've only done enough to do this. I need, judging by that, I'm going to need about 9 or 10 to do that full length. The one here is going to have to be a longer one, because I've left this cut out for wires to come up what have you. Nothing to do with the board, only board I had that cut out. But we can always put a very thin piece over that. It won't matter too much, or even underneath, and then just use one of the longer ones just to go up through there, and it will just, we can make it look like it's part of the hillside. So I've not tested anywhere else in this board again since I've managed to get this to run around like this, because obviously we've got more power now, because power's being sent over this bridge as well. So it's really, the way this is set up now, is the only break in the track is over there. Everything else gets its power from over here, and obviously all these are broken up, but it's done in a way that if I was to need to move the layout, it wouldn't be too much of an issue. We just have to unsolder these tracks, unsolder that, and then that will just lift out. And obviously it's only, that's 2 pieces of flexi track. It doesn't matter if it gets damaged. It doesn't, you know, there's no saying that where it would go next this would work. So although we would want to save the scenery board as much as possible, we wouldn't be that over fussed. I suppose we could just chop it along there and then have them meet up. Oh, I've lost part of my wagons and I can't see them, so I bet they're in the tunnel. They are in the tunnel. That's the first time that's happened. I've got no real way of stopping that track. I can go to the control, but just let it keep tumbling around. So in this tunnel section, I have had to alter it slightly. There was a point here, and that would have met up with that in there, and what have you. So I have altered this. Me and Sean do need to do some work, because as you see, as the train comes through now, it jumps about, and it's because of this here. So we can get Sean to look at that, and we might be able to, there's a slight height difference in the board, but nothing major, and it does do it. If you held that track down, it would go over no problem. So I think we can get Sean just to solder that in there, and then that should resolve that problem. I've not tested the other track, not used the other track yet, since the original testing of the layout, but obviously I'm going to get all that 3D printed, and then me and Sean can work on getting that track done from there down here, because we need to edit this bit down here to make that work, so it's not a single piece. Up to there, onto there, and then we should be able to run 2 directions. But to be honest, at the moment it's not a massive priority because I only have 1 train. But obviously we want to get it done, ready for the future, of there being more than 1. But yeah, more than happy with that. That has been about a week in the making of sorting that bridge out and working out how to do it. Obviously it ain't going to get pinned down for a while because it needs gluing, painting and what have you. So yeah, that's where we're up to. As well as, while you was away, I have changed how these points work, and when the train comes around we will stop the train in this station. So accessories. So we've got up and down switch. Let's see if these work. There we go. So them two work together. And then we've got the good siding, which is that one there. That's not mine, I'm not the Colin Road. I don't think 101 is connected to anything at the moment. Right, that's this engine shed still here. And then 100 isn't connected to anything as of yet, and that's due to wires being very short, which Sean will sort out, but we'll probably connect it either to this point or this point, probably this point, as this, then all these here on the line that we're using are going to be controlled by the motors, which is good. So yeah, that's where we're up to, and I'll see you in probably a couple of days once I've done a bit more printing and a bit more sorting out. But I will just leave you with the night sight of the train in the station. And I think this board is brilliantly lit up. So I've got to refix that coaling tower, but we've got the trucks, we've got network rail in there now. All of it needs gluing down and sorting out. But I do have stuff, and then obviously this side will look mint when it is done. When I've managed to get it all lit back up. Me and Sean have got a lot of wiring to go through and do and mess with, and we've got to get all these out and replace them. And like I said, the last time, the ones that I got last time, they weren't the correct ones, they weren't the correct size, so a bit of work. But I've added a few bits onto here which they will need gluing down, but we'll get there with it. And a bit of tidying up process, and obviously that belongs there, but we had it out because we did that. So there's little bits that need doing, little bits that need repairing after we've had to do stuff, but we are getting there, and we will get everything wired back up on that station, and everywhere else basically. So yeah, thank you so much for your continued support and your continued watching, and I'll see you next time, probably with Sean, and we will look at carrying on. So this needs sorting out. They all need a bit of glue just to hold them down a bit better. And then this area also, before I forget, this area needs something doing with it. Need to put our level crossing back, which means that rail needs to sit a bit further down like that. But that's all changing anyway, so it doesn't really matter, and me and Sean will sort that out. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.